This is going to be the quickest way to create a pipe profile. We're just going to use a generic drawing that we have here. We have an existing storm system. So the first thing you want to do is just create a polyline at all of the intersections of the storm structures. And you want to make sure that you're getting it exactly where you want the storm structures to actually go, because when you create the pipe profile, it's going to put the structures exactly where each node is going to be of that polyline. Next, you're going to go to the Home tab, click the pipe network, then click Create Pipe Network from Object. You're going to select the polyline you just made. Now, you want to make sure that the arrows are pointing in the direction from basically the flow direction, so high to low, ideally. Next, going to bring up the Create Pipe Network from Object dialog box. We're going to rename that to be Storm A. Next, we have parts list. If you hit the down arrow, it'll give you all the parts lists that you have available to you in Civil 3D. Right now, we're on a HFR storm sewer. Next, we're going to go to pipe to create, and this is going to let you see all the different pipe types that you have within your parts list. And as you can see, we have a lot of different pipes we can choose from. So we're going to do an HDPE 18-inch. Next, we're going to hit the structure to create, and similar to the pipe to create, it's going to bring up a list of all the structures that you have available to you within your parts list. We're going to go ahead and select a typical structure that would be used for all of the structures right now. And then you can go back and specifically change each individual structure to whatever it needs to be later on. But you want to hit a broad stroke of all your structures, or just usually just a generic, almost like a catch basin. Next, you could tie your pipe network to a surface. In this case, we actually don't have a surface created, so there's nothing to tie our pipe network to yet. You can also add your pipe network back to a surface later on. Additionally, too, you could also add your pipe network to an alignment if you already had an alignment created. But I personally like to create my alignments after I create my pipe network. You can choose to erase the existing entity. All that will do is get rid of the polyline. Other than that, you don't need to change everything else, and all you have to do is click OK, and it'll create your pipe network. But that is honestly how you create your pipe network. Now we want to make sure we have the profile view. And to be able to do that, you're going to have to create an alignment. You can create an alignment from a pipe network as well. All you have to do is go to the Home tab again, go to Alignment, create alignment from pipe network. You have an option where you can either choose to select the outfall of the system structure, or you can choose to click the structure at the highest point in the system. This is just preference on if you choose the highest to the lowest, it'll just go from left to right on your profile view of highest to lowest versus lowest to highest. That's if you click from the outfall to the highest structure. I personally like to go from the outfall of the structure and then select the highest point structure. And what that's doing, it's creating an alignment from the lowest structure all the way up to the highest structure, and you know that alignment will be along your pipe network system. Once you select the first structure and the last structure, it will then bring up the dialog box, create alignment from pipe network. If you do have a site, you can put this profile view on that site, but all we're going to really do is just rename this alignment to match our storm structure, and we're going to leave everything else the same. And once we hit OK, it's going to take us to another dialog box that's going to give us options to change and manipulate. Within this dialog box, there really isn't a lot that you need to change or manipulate. Two of the things that you just have to look at really is the station range and then the elevation range. Usually for the station range, I just like to -15 and then add 15 to whatever the total length is, just to give it a little bit more to the sides of the profile view. And for the elevation, if you created the pipe network with us tying it to a surface, it'll usually have the range of whatever that elevation difference is between the high and the low of the structures. But in this case, since we didn't have it tied to a surface, it's just going to give us 0, 0. But, you know, me looking at the topographic of this site, I saw that going from like a 300 to about 315. So I'm just going to go ahead and automatically add those. And that can be updated and changed once you put in all your information for your pipe network. And after that, we're going to create the profile by hitting that Create Profile button. and then click off into space. And as you can see, there's nothing created there yet. And that's because everything is at 0, 0 for our structures for the elevational wise. And our profile is set to be at an elevation of 300 to 312. And that's basically how you will create a pipe network and a profile view for that network. Next would be the steps of manipulating both of these things so that way you can visually see the actual network in the profile view. And a video on this very topic of taking your network and adding it to your profile view and manipulating your pipe network can be found in the video description below.